Hi Nick, so tell us about your role and remit as Chair of Visit England and its purpose with regards to business events.
Yeah, well, first of all, perhaps just a little bit about my background, because I actually, whilst I'm Chair of Visit England now, I spent over most of my adult life in the business events sector, starting way back in about the late 1980s, when most people who are in the industry now were barely a twinkle in someone's eye. And it's been a fantastic industry to have spent my most of my career in. And, they used to say if you cut me, I would bleed events and exhibitions. So when I went into Parliament in 2010, I also took that passion to try and get on politicians' agenda, the policymakers' agenda, to understand the scale of our sector, but also what business events, conferences and exhibitions do for the wider UK economy. And then after leaving Parliament, we finally got a business visit and event strategy out of the UK government. And I chaired what was then the first events industry board that brought professionals together from the sector with policymakers. And now at Visit England, of course, the role here is broadly understood by most people as tourism. But of course, what that engages with is business visitors, the visitor economy. A huge chunk of it is the very people that this sector brings to the country and from within the domestic market. Our job is policy advice. Obviously, we're in a unique position where we are sponsored by the Department for Culture and Media and Sport. We have direct access to the policymakers there, but we're not, in the true sense of the word, a lobby group. So we use that privileged position to advise on policy. Our job now is to support the sector, but also keep Visit England on the map, in the minds of as a key destination of choice. So when we emerge from this, Britain and Visit England in particular, from my responsibility, is right up there as a destination of choice for future events.
Thank you. Okay. And how do you believe that events such as the meeting show can support our industry at this time?
Well, first of all, I mean, it's fantastic to be here and thank you for the opportunity. It's hard to believe you've only really been established since 2012. Such a calendar event, is it? Now, what I think is really important about what you're doing this year in this hugely challenging year, let's be blunt. The business visit and event sector is facing an existential threat, and its response is, in these challenging times, is encouraging, but there's a lot to do. The meeting show, of course, will bring people together in this virtual arena. And it's doing it in quite a sophisticated manner, I think in a great manner. You can have your obvious advantages of networking and meeting people, bringing buyers to the meeting show, where there is a huge offer from across Britain for destinations, and you're bringing international buyers here as well. But you've got education. You're looking also not just at developing professionals here, but we've got to work hard to keep youngsters and young people, their interest in coming into this sector, which is so under threat at the moment, under siege. And of course, we want to protect those supply chains and those skills within those supply chains. So things you're doing like that, your one-to-one meetings, your networking ability, and of course the exhibition platform, I think are a reflection of the creativity, the dynamism, and how responsive this sector can be in the face of this huge challenge.
Thank you. What will the Visit Britain and Visit England team be getting up to at the show?
Well, of course, Visit Britain is the hosted buyer partner for the event, and there is fulfilling its key role with its virtual stand to actually promote Britain as this destination of choice for business visits and exhibitions and events. And that's a great thing to be doing. If you look at it in context, though, of where we've come from since the launch of the pandemic, we were very much in an early stages. We were about reminding our potential customers that the UK was here, that we were all in this together, that we would actually emerge from this. We had to kind of keep Britain on people's agenda during those early difficult stages. We've moved, if you like, through to reassurance now, where we've been reassuring people that we are taking all the measures necessary to reopen this sector. And as soon as we get that official go-ahead that it's safe to go ahead, that reassurance work will be evident to everyone. And then, of course, we will be launching our reimagined campaign, which is basically taking a look at how the UK is getting ready for what people call the new normal, where we're going to see events coming back to England, coming back to the UK. But obviously, we're expecting them to be different as we come out of this. We're going to see more hybrid events. We're going to see people thinking more creatively how to respond to them. And I think you're going to see that that will be the next platform that we introduce. You'll see some of that in our reimagined campaign that we're launching at this event, which will be delivering that very positive, upbeat message that we're not just waiting for this to end, that actually we are planning for change and we're getting fit to meet the new challenges when Britain is open to destinations, open to events and businesses again.
We look forward to seeing that campaign. How has Visit England been helping the business events industry at such a challenging time for the sector, and what plans are in place to aid with the recovery?
Right, big question. I should try and cover that off as efficiently as I can, given the time. Look, first of all, I'll never tire of saying this. Let's give some context to this industry we are talking about. It is worth, up to the point of the pandemic, the business visit and event sector was worth 70 billion to the UK. I mean, that is a huge sum, and that accounts for something like half of the UK visitor economy. You know, people think of visitor economy, they think of tourism. Well, actually, crucial to that is the business visitor, and we're making a huge contribution there. In terms of what business events and exhibitions brings to the event sector, it's actually over 30 billion of that figure, and that is huge. So it's absolutely crucial that at this time when the sector is facing such a threat, that we keep in mind, in the minds of the international buyers and the international event planners, that we are planning for opening. We are getting ready to harness all the opportunities that will be needed when we go into recovery of this sector. And in that in mind, we've been keeping the UK, if you like, front of mind globally, so that we will then be ready to launch an active campaign to promote Britain as soon as we get the green light that it's safe to proceed and go ahead. We've also been working hard to engage with the convention bureaus so that we can share with them as much information as possible, particularly on all the changing regulations that people are very well aware of that are changing, not necessarily aware of what they always are as they're coming down the line. And I go back to talking about the reassurance that I mentioned earlier. So one of the things we introduced back in the summer was the industry standard, which was good to go. Now, a lot of people might have recognized that when they were going into certain pubs or more leisure tourism venues during the summer. This industry standard has been taken up widely by the business events sector as well. And what is it? It's basically saying that this venue or this particular concern has gone through a COVID risk assessment. And to give you an idea of the scale of what's happened there, is that we've had something like just shy of 40,000 applications for good to go, of which 34,000 have been approved. It's been promoted by over 150 odd destinations across the UK. Very important to be part of that building reassurance, how the sector is getting ready to open. And that, I think, is really important. For the future, people may have been unaware of this because it's all been lost in this fog of COVID. But back in 2018, the tourism sector deal was put forward by the government. It was effectively awarded to the tourism sector deal. Again, I reiterate, including business visitor economy. And we're at the point where this sort of deal will be like an injection, a vote of confidence and a financial injection from the government to help drive a platform, not just for this sector, but for wider economic growth. Something we know business events do, as well as work for their own sector. They are the platform for UK PLC to get out there and sell. Now, we're in a difficult period at the moment. There's the comprehensive spending review. It's going to be really tough. You know, I'm sure it'll be difficult to get everything that everyone would wish for. But the tourism sector deal is still on the table. And I think that this is a very important development that we will have. Something that has been taken up well by the industry is the Business Events Growth Programme, or what was called the Event Support Programme, where about £1 million was put on the table for international event or UK events that wanted to internationalise their audience, or even looking at new ventures. We were there to provide some support for that through the Event Support Programme. Plus, we're getting advocacy from mayors, from the government, letters of support, so we can start to up the ante and show that this country is hungry and wants and is ready and fit to win many of those international events that we will secure in the future. And let's face it, event planners are always looking as far ahead as they can, even in these uncertain times, and that's what this programme does.
And finally, with the impact of COVID-19, how do you think the industry will change in the future?
Well, it's a really good question. I wish I had a crystal ball to be absolutely certain, but I'll give it my best go. I think if you look at the qualities of this sector, it's always been about flexibility, creativity, a dynamism. You know, we're one of the most creative nations in the world, and I think that serves us well. You know, we are doing events at the moment. They are hugely limited by the restraints placed on them by government. We're obviously all working hard to get a green light to open them up. And I think we're going to see, if you like, events reimagined a little. We're today on what I think is going to be a really successful virtual platform for the meeting show. But you can never take away the huge benefit of face-to-face meetings. That's what this is all about. That is what we do. We get people talking, we build contacts, we build relationships. But this is not going to be a very steep, swift return to what we used to do. There is going to be the emergence of more hybrid events where we are reaching new audiences. I think that is true, but we are going to have to build on that, this need for the human contact that ultimately will deliver the key results for Britain. We must never forget that behind what we do is this crucial ingredient, this very basic human instinct of people wanting contact. And in that contact, they build the relationships that will drive both our sector and the wider UK economy forward. So if you like, we are rebooting things inevitably as a result of this change. We are refreshing what we do and reimagining how we're going to do these events. And I think what we're witnessing here today in the meeting show is part of that process. And as we look ahead, I think it should be more a call to arms. It should be more a response that this hugely successful and creative industry, when it is let off the leash by government and able to go ahead safely and do its events, as we are seeing elsewhere in the world, far from facing the existential threat it is facing today, I think we can come back champions in our sector. Frankly, as long as we can retain the skills, retain the supply chain, and through Visit England and Visit Britain, we will make sure that Britain is out there as a key destination of choice to buyers.
Thanks so much, Nick.